A Monk is the name of the book by Jay Shetty. Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. He is a phenomenal author. His mission in life is to make wisdom go viral. He's got a podcast called the On Purpose Podcast that you can listen to on pretty much any outlet that you would like to. He also has a genius community that I am a part of. He doesn't pay me to do this, but the book has added so much value to my life that I said to myself, you know what, Jamila, you've got to share your key learnings from the book. You've got to share your key learnings from the book. Thanks for joining us, NC Coast Realtor. So I know you're in that North Carolina area. Thank you for joining us. So that's a little bit about the author of the book. Obviously, the title is a little jarring. It says, Think Like a Monk. Think Like a Monk. He spent the early part of his 20s as a monk, learning the ways, practicing the ways, and then ultimately decided that it wasn't for him, but everything that he learned, he felt like there was a way to adapt while most people are not able to live out every principle and commit the time that monks commit to the things that they're doing. He felt like he could take this book and share some of the key principles, some of the key practices in an effort to help us as individuals. So that's what we'll be sharing a little bit about tonight. The chapter that we're going to actually cover tonight is the last chapter, well, not technically the last chapter, but the last named chapter on principles, which is service. Okay? That's the chapter that we're going to be covering tonight. And I'll repeat the name of the book again. The name of the book is Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. For those that just joined us on Facebook Live, wanted to make sure I repeated that book again so you could hear it. And for everyone that is also on LinkedIn Audio that just joined us, wanted to make sure I repeated the name of the book again. Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. It's a book that he wrote probably a few years ago. Launched it during the pandemic, so there was no press tour, what have you, but it's still a national Times bestseller book. So incredible book. I believe that if you don't have it, you should get it, or just go back and look at the conversations we've had the last few weeks. We started this book club's discussion on Thursday, August 4th, and this is our fourth and final conversation around it. But it's a book that you can read in sections, or just pick the topic that you want to dig more into in that point in time or that season of your life, right? So with that being said, the chapter we're going to cover, as I mentioned, is the chapter is called Service. But I think what might also be helpful as we go through this is to just to kind of recap the titles of the chapter. Since this is our last session together, there were 3 sections in the book that Jay titled the book. So 3 sections, and there's a few chapters under each section. So part 1 of the book is titled Let Go. Part 1 is titled Let Go. And in that section, you have a chapter on identity, a chapter on negativity, a chapter on fear, a chapter on intention, and then a meditation at the end of that chapter if you're on Audible to listen to. Then part 2 of the book was called Grow. So the first part was Let Go. The second part is to grow. Chapter 5, inside of that part 2 section, was purpose, routine, the mind, ego. Purpose, routine, the mind, and ego. That was probably my favorite section of the book. And it's probably just based upon the season that I am in my life, where I'm really focused on understanding me, understanding how my mind works, understanding how human nature works. It was a phenomenal section, probably my favorite. Part 3 is give. So you had part 1 was Let Go, part 2 was Grow, part 3 is give. And the chapters in give are gratitude, relationships, and service, which we'll be covering tonight. We covered gratitude and relationships. The relationships chapter is probably my favorite chapter, even though it's not in the same section as my favorite section. It was my favorite chapter, and it was so robust that we spent the bulk of our time last Thursday night talking about relationships. And so then this chapter, being service, is to some degree a culmination of everything that he's discussed in the book, but it is in my opinion, the root of why we were created and why we walk the earth together. So that's what we'll be discovering there. So let me know if that recap was helpful. On LinkedIn Audio, you can use the react symbol. Just throw your hands up, do the little touchdown symbol or heart emoji or something. Let me know my audio's good. I'd appreciate it. Thank you for joining. Same thing, Twitter Spaces, just to let me know everything's moving and you can hear well. I want to make sure that's right for you and there's no interruptions there. As we get into the chapter called Services, which is the last chapter in the book in part 3. We'll cover a few of the highlights there. And then those that want to join the conversation, just let me know. You can join the conversation. We'll figure that out at some point. I know the technology will improve on LinkedIn Audio. They'll add more features. For now, you'll just be able to enjoy the conversation that we're having. And I'll make sure to repeat anything that's said on the other side of any of these audio platforms and or IG or Facebook Live. So thank you, Alan, for joining. Thank you for the sound check, the Ivy 44. As we get into the service chapter, and again, this book club is brought to you by 5 Minute Career Hack. If you're not currently following the 5 Minute Career Hack, be sure to follow the 5 Minute Career Hack on Twitter, as well as IG, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I apologize. It looks like we lost our space on... Yep, we did. We lost our space on Twitter. It knocked us off. I apologize. Let me get them back on. Not sure what happened there. Won't take me but a second. All right. I think I got them back on. I apologize for that. Sometimes you have technical difficulties. Thank you for joining us, Marsha, on LinkedIn Audio. Remember, send this to 5 people that you think can benefit from the conversation. We're covering the Think Like a Monk book by Jay Shetty, my mentor, whom I love, I appreciate. He's just done so much for me and helped me develop as an individual. I encourage you to follow him on social as well as check out his podcast On Purpose and purchase the book if you feel like it'll add value. So with that being said, the service chapter, the first thing he says in the service chapter, in the service chapter, if you've got a pen, you might need to slow this down to hear it. I'm more of a visual person, even though I listen to Audible books primarily. The first thing he said is a bit of a mind sentence, right? For you to have to slow it down and take it all in. He says, plant trees under whose shade you don't plan to sit. Plant trees under whose shade you don't plan to sit. And then he states the highest purpose is to live in purpose and service of others. The highest purpose is to live in purpose and service of others. Right? Remember, the title of this chapter is Service. It's not wrong to have things if we use them for good. It's not wrong to have things if we use them for good. It is believed that we are designed to be in service, and I truly believe this. I believe that we were created and brought to this earth together for a reason, not to live as an individual, but to live in community. Otherwise, we wouldn't all be here. So there's purpose in that. And only in service, he says, can we be happy. Only in service can we truly be happy. Only in service can we truly be happy. Service gives back to us. Service gives back to us. When we pursue compassionate goals aimed at helping others, We are less likely to have symptoms of anxiety or depression versus if we are protecting our own status or proving our reputation. The act of giving to others activates the pleasure center in our brain. We feel better. We feel alive. We feel fulfilled when we're in service, when we're helping others. You can think about that with your family. You can think about that with your kids, your spouse, friends, your parents, whomever is close in your immediate circle. How good does it feel when you're able to be in service and to help and support them? How good does that feel? So if that is in part what we were created to be, and it's at everyone's core. Everyone's core. If we were to actually spend some time focusing on that, that activates the pleasure center, right? So it's a win-win. You feel good. You feel good. Those that help others tend to live longer. It's statistically proven. I'm not going to quote all the different references or what have you. You can read the book for that. You can do your own research for that. But those that help others tend to live longer. They tend to live longer. The monks describe the pillar of service from the book. The pillar of service makes our lives better. It is hard to be lonely when you're helping other people. One of the biggest challenges, especially during COVID, that many people discussed outside of the actual illness itself, was the feeling of loneliness because we were under lockdown for a period of time. It's natural when you're not in community to sometimes feel lonely. Whatever that community might look like, whether that's if you're in a relationship, not in a relationship, you're an empty nester, your kids have left the home, or you work at home now, you're working remote and you're not interacting with people day to day. So it can happen. But when you're in service to others, it's very difficult to feel alone. It's extremely difficult to feel alone. I recently, for those that know me, those that don't, I'm a former basketball player. I played in high school, college, and then I coached for a few years at the collegiate level. And then I left basketball for almost a 20-year period. Then I had the opportunity, I think it was around right after Christmas, someone reached out to me and said, hey, we could really use a female coach at the camp. Can you come out? Can you spare some time? I said, you know what? Let me figure out how to make it happen. I went to the camp, did the camp for 5 days. It was extremely rewarding. I thought that was it. And then it turned into, hey, I started this AAU organization, girls like between 8th grade and 11th grade. Jamila, please come out. We could really use you as a coach. I said, okay, I can probably commit to being an assistant coach just based upon what I have going on with investing, my trade team, with the 5-minute career hack and our consulting business that is completely exploded and just been an amazing experience in less than a year. And so my plate's a little full. So I said, I can be an assistant because I don't want to let the kids down if I can't be somewhere. And then that turned into, well, we need you to be the head coach of the 8th grade team. And I'll tell you, it's been one of the most rewarding things that I've done in a long time. And I truly believe it's because of what Jay's talking about in the book, being in service to others. I believe the impact that I've already had, and this is not even coming from an arrogant place, but the impact that I've had and the connections that I've made gives them yet another positive, solid, structured, disciplined outlet that they can lean on. They say it takes a village. Absolutely. Absolutely. So being in service can be one of the most fulfilling things. And we all have something to give. Jay talks about that. We all have something to give. It doesn't always have to be money. You can give your time around the things that you're most passionate about. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Service builds self-esteem. Service builds self-esteem, right? Service builds self-esteem. You have a sense of meaning and purpose when you're living a life of service. It can be challenging to live a life of service compared to the monks. So he's not necessarily saying you have to be, living this like strict life that monks live, but there are definitely things that you can apply day to day. Love is in the small things. That's something I'm going to tweet later. I thought that was such an important thing to say there. If you've loved someone and someone's loved you, it's the things that you remember are the small things. I lost my father last January. And for me, the things that I remember that are like embedded are some of the things he said, some of the experiences we had, some of the very small things that he either taught me or did for me are the things that I remember. Those are the things that are the flooding memories that I'm consistently having. And so that statement, love is in the small things, truly resonated with me. Then he moved to understanding like the relationship of giving, right, and service with money. Because again, most people think it has to be about money, right? Most people think it has to be about money. Drop an emoji if you think, man, giving money is important, because it is. Just give me an emoji, a high five, a heart, my new emoji that you guys have learned that I really love. Drop that if you think giving money is important, right? If you think that's important, because I do believe that there is absolutely, that's part of the function. However, it's not all of it. But there are three postures. And I want you to write this down, type it in the chat. Type it in the chat if you're on Twitter Spaces, if you're on IG Live or Facebook, type it in the chat. There are three postures related to money. You can be selfish, right? You got money and you want it all for yourself. You can be selfish, you got money and you want it all for yourself. There's sufficiency, number two. There's sufficiency, number two, which is where the bulk of people are. I have just enough to get by, but not necessarily money to give. Like above and beyond, I don't have money to give. That's the sufficiency. So we've got selfish, we've got sufficiency. And then we've got number three, service. I want to give what I have, and I want more money to give. That's the service posture related to money. So you've got selfish, sufficiency, and service. Now, I'm not going to ask you to say, okay, which bucket are you currently falling into as it relates to the money side of giving? That's not what I'm asking. But how many people want to be in the service bucket? How many people want to have a service posture as it relates to money? Where you want to give what you have and get more money so that you can give more money. How many people want to be in that posture? I know that's the posture that I want to be in, because I see there's so many needs, so many things that if I had more money, I could supply and give and support more people, help more people. How many people want to be in a service posture as it relates to money? Because I believe in God, and I believe that if you're in a service posture to give, He's going to give you more to give. He's going to give you more to give if that's the posture that you're in. You'll never be in a sufficiency or a selfish or a lack posture associated with money if your purpose is to serve people with that money and be a good steward of that money. You will never be without. You will never be without if you're in a service posture. And I know there's not any way for any of us, and I mean this, figuratively, for us to see things day to day, all day, every day. And there's so many needs. There's needs in specific communities. There's needs in specific societies. There's needs in specific schools. There's needs in sports. There's needs in education. There's needs for women. There's needs for men. There's needs for teenagers. There's needs for adults. There's needs for veterans. There's needs for seniors. My gosh, there's so many needs for our seniors, our parents, my parents and older. There are needs. At one point, the baby boomers, and it's slowly tapering off, were the largest demographic on earth, and they're all getting older, which means the need for seniors just got bigger. It's a bigger issue. But they have needs. There's needs in healthcare. There's needs in science. There's needs in all disciplines, all industries. So there's no way for you to wake up in a day and not see a bunch of things that you could help and or give your time and or the abundance or the overflow that God blesses you with in the form of service. So which posture do you want to be in? Selfish, sufficiency, or service? You don't have to answer that. I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, because everybody has a role in society. Everybody has a role in a community, and then in that sub-community. Everybody. But I know what God placed on my heart, and it is to be in service. And I know it because of how it makes me feel. I also know it based upon how he blesses me, not just with money, but with information. The amount of information and the amount of things that God consistently puts in front of me, consistently has me work on, consistently challenges me with, continually exposes me to, educates me, experiences, rooms that I'm in. I know that that's my purpose. I know my purpose is to serve God and to serve others with love. I know that because of how he blesses me in those areas, as well as how I feel physiologically on the inside, mentally, emotionally, the charge, the energy that it creates for me, how I don't get tired when I'm doing it. Right? Are there components of it? Are there times when I get, of course, I'm a human, I get tired, but generally speaking, proverbially, I do not get tired because I'm in service with my time, with my gifts, with my education, with my experience, with my knowledge, with my information. I am always ready to give it. I learned a long time ago that 99% of what I go through has absolutely nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing to do with me. Once I got that ego out of the way, wow, my life changed. Completely changed. My life completely changed once I got my ego out of the way and realized that it really had not much to do with me. And then people started coming my way, family, friends, you name it. And it ultimately showed me why I went through it in hindsight. And it unlocked me in a way that it's hard for me to even describe. But when you're in your purpose, and again, everybody's purpose is not the same, but in some way, shape, or form, you've been blessed with a gift. You've been blessed with a gift, a talent, information, knowledge, education, skill, whatever, physically, mentally, emotionally, something that you should be giving right now. There's something that you should be giving of yourself that you've been blessed with right now. I don't want you to give to the point of emptiness, but there's something that you should be giving based upon your purpose. Right? Then he talks about how do you get started with service? How do you get started with service? And he said, serve the pain that you know best. Serve the pain that you know best. I need somebody to type that in the chat on IG Live, on Facebook Live. Type that in the chat. Type it in Twitter Spaces. You got the chat function tonight. Be sure to type it. Type it in the chat function. Serve the pain that you know best. Do you have a friend that needed to hear that? Because you know somebody that's in pain. We all know someone that's in pain. We all know someone that's hurting emotionally, that's hurting mentally, that's hurting physically. Tell them to serve the pain that they know best. Serve the pain that they know best. And what he means by that is the best way to understand where you should be serving most often is by healing the pain that you know best. By healing the pain that you know best. This is a direct path to your service calling. A direct path to your service calling. So that, for some examples that he gave in the book. Maybe you didn't get the education that you wanted at certain points. Maybe you didn't make a sports team that you really wanted to make for all my athletes. Or get to play at a level that you really wanted to play at. Or a specific sport that you just didn't get to try. Maybe you needed support in an area when you were depressed and going through something in your childhood. Maybe you have a childhood trauma. Maybe you have a teenage trauma. Maybe you were bullied in high school. Find a cause or a charity that matches the pain. Find a cause or a charity that matches the pain. So you might have to do some reflecting. You might have to be honest about that pain and open it up for a second. And that could look like a teen hotline. That could look like giving money, starting a scholarship fund, big brother, big sister. That could mean a mentoring program. It could be coaching a team like I'm currently doing. And that actually comes from a source of pain. I'm going to be honest with you. My basketball days did not, from high school through college, absolutely did not go the way I wanted. I spent more time having surgeries and doing rehab than I actually did playing. Period. I spent more time hurt on the bench, rehabbing, working on my craft in hopes that I could play. And more times than not, including my last year in college, tore my ACL right at the beginning of conference play, and my career was over. And that's a source of pain for me. It's why I coached for a few years and I left it. Like most people to this day could not believe it, still don't believe that I left the entire game for over 20 years. Couldn't believe it. But it was a source of pain. But God saw fit that it was time for me to heal from that pain now. And I think I'd kind of gotten there before, but got busy, right? Got wrapped up in life. And now I'm able to give back to someone, some kids, some young ladies currently in a way that I hadn't thought about in a long time. And it's been so rewarding. So where are some areas, if that's where you need to start, where are some areas of pain that you can give and demonstrate service with the gifts, the talent, the education, and or heal from through service? What are some of those areas? If you have a charity that's special to you, if you have a charity that's special to you, or a cause that is special to you, drop it in the comments. We've got people across all of these social media platforms. I'll say the names out loud. There may be people here that want to help support or may not know how to support. So if you've got a specific charity or cause that you want, you need support on, you need volunteers, you need money, you need connections even. There's a ton of people on here right now that can help with that. And if you're on LinkedIn, send me a DM. If you're on LinkedIn audio, send me a DM with the name of your charity or your cause. Send me a DM. But drop in the comments if there's a cause or a charity right now. Drop in the chat on Twitter Spaces. so that we can share that information. And you might also help inspire someone that was looking for a way to volunteer, looking for a way to give, looking for a way to be of service to someone else. So drop that in the comments. I know one of our co-founders, Alicia, is doing a campaign right now. If she could drop in the comments, I think she is on IG Live. Alicia, if you can drop in the comments the charity that you are working with. Candyce just dropped Safe Alliance in Austin. Safe Alliance in Austin, Texas. It's a shelter for abused women and children. Her and her 7-year-old daughter, Riley, are doing some amazing work with this shelter by giving monetarily, as well as I know she's about to do a specific t-shirt. And she just dropped the website. You can donate at RileyODesigns.square.site. RileyODesigns.square.site. You can donate by buying a t-shirt to help them with clothing. All the proceeds will go to that women's shelter, that women and children's shelter for abused women and children. If anybody else has another nonprofit or even a cause or a charity that they want to give to, I'm going to shout out the AAU organization that I coach for. We're obviously in a dormant season because the kids are back at school, but when we get back into season, I think our tryouts will be sometime around January or February of next year, but we need donations, man. It is tough to move about 12 kids per age group. And we're going to have 5 teams, I believe, next year. So, well over 50 kids. And we're trying to create and curate experiences for them where they get to travel outside of the greater New Orleans area where I live and where the team is based, where they get to travel. Last year, we were able to take them to Virginia. Most of the kids had never been on a plane before, but they got to travel to Virginia and see a totally different part of the country in a different time zone. We took them to Louisville, Kentucky, another area of the country that most of them had never been in. Hell, I think actually, it was the first time believe it or not, I had even been to Louisville, Kentucky. Even with all of my basketball travels and work-related projects, I'd never been there. So I was able to check that off of my list. I've been to Louisville, Kentucky, and we took them to Atlanta as well this year. So it costs money to do that. The name of the organization is LA Soul. LA Soul Academy. You can follow him here on IG. The work that Coach Joe is doing, who started the organization, and Coach Des, is phenomenal. And it's helping so many kids fulfill their dreams. We've already got, I believe, 4 kids with scholarship offers to play basketball in college. 4 kids. 4 kids got scholarship offers between April of this year and most recently have scholarships to go back play basketball in college. So anything that you can do, a word of encouragement, give time, money, would be absolutely greatly appreciated. If anybody else has any other ones, even if you're watching this on a replay, be sure to drop them in the comments and we will share them as we get them socially for other people that are looking for opportunities and ways to give and be of service. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to move to the live discussion portion of our live tonight. So if I've got anybody on IG, Twitter Spaces, Facebook Live that wants to join, please let me know if you want to join the conversation. The couple questions I want to kind of steer the conversation just a little bit, but it can still be organic. What was a big takeaway for you? Whether that's for tonight's session or a previous session on any of the other topics. What was your number one, your aha moment, your biggest takeaway from this discussion around Think Like a Monk, whether that's about service or previously? The second is going to be one thing you will integrate into your life moving forward. What's one thing you'll integrate into your life moving forward? And you can answer any of these questions, have the conversation with me, totally up to you. Right? And how will you apply this daily? So those are the 3 questions for the conversation. So if I've got anybody on Twitter Spaces, IG Live, you can join the conversation. Just request and let me know you want to join the conversation. As we wrap up this Think Like a Monk book club, it's been a blessing to me. It's been an incredible blessing to me. I can't even express to you the intent was for me to come on and give about and tell about my experience, the things that I've learned, the things that I've absorbed and been able, some of which I've been able to implement in my life. But I'll tell you, just being able to share it has not only reinforced my learnings and my activity based upon what I've learned, but it's truly blessed my soul. It's truly blessed my soul, my spirit, to be able to engage with all of you virtually. So I appreciate you just coming in. I appreciate you joining. It means the world to me, and it's giving me energy back. So I appreciate it, and I push that energy back to you all as well. So it doesn't look like so far we have anybody that wants to join the live conversation. I'm just taking a peek on audio to be sure we don't have anyone that wants to. It looks like we got somebody trying to request. Let me see if I can send. All right, I think I got you. Let me know if you get it. All right, we got Candyce joining. This is my fellow co-founder at the 5-Minute Career Hack, my sister. She's joining us on IG Live. Go ahead, Candyce. What did you want to share tonight?
Good.
Wait, hold up. You glowing. You glowing over there. Come on, you glowing, lady. What?
My glow is glowing. This is my third time having an encounter with this book. So this book and all the things that I'm learning around wholeness certainly has a lot to do with my glow. So thank you for the compliment. And first, before I even say anything, Jamila, so this book club and you leading this experience has been extremely phenomenal.
Thank you.
I will share personally that I read this book, and it might have even been your recommendation back in 2020. So I have the hard copy. I read it back in like mid-year 2020. I was in a completely different space in my life when I read it the first time, and then I listened to it on the audio at the end of 2021 into 2022. And I heard it a different way. My heart was in a different place. My mind was in a different place. So I received the book different. So this is now my third encounter where every single time this book is just giving, it's kind of giving like when you need a word out the dictionary, you always got to go back to the dictionary. It's giving like manual to wholeness for me. So I look forward to this book continuing to bless me. And you asked 3 really good questions, and I was going to talk about trust, but you really moved me with your last discussion around service. Mm-hmm. And one of the things you said at the end is serve that pain that you know best. And I just wanted to share that really resonated with me, and it kind of shifted kind of what my thoughts and my biggest takeaway was that I even thought about when I read the book. But now it's, even with me sharing the charity that I recommend, it just resonated so much differently, because I think sometimes we see our pain and we have so much guilt and shame about the pain that we feel or about a certain experience that we have, that we feel like we need to heal from that guilt and shame and heal from that pain in order to serve others.
Right.
And one thing that I've learned since 2020, and just as I continue a healing process of my own, is that you can heal through your work. I think I tweet this often, but you can heal through your work. And I even had, I had an opportunity that it just kind of hit me. I've heard you, my spiritual mentor, say this several times, but it hit me while you were talking. But I had an experience where I had to support someone who shared an experience. So I had a family member who called me, and they had experienced some abuse in their lives, and I had been holding on for 20 plus years to some abuse that I had experienced. And just me sharing my experience with them was actually the start of my own healing process, just because I was able to serve them in that moment. And the thing about it was that I didn't even realize what that was going to mean for me in my life. So when I heard you talk about that tonight, even though I've heard you say it before, I've read it in the book, and then I've been tweeted myself, heal through your pain, it just hit different and kind of just really kind of stirred up in me the mission of making sure that I'm able to share my story or anything, any pain that I have, that I can use my experience to help others. I think it's actually a disservice to not share that and to not help others, and to feel like you need to get over the hump, because a healing process is a journey that's going to always be going on. And if you're waiting to get over the hump, you're going to miss a part of your healing, and you're going to hold someone else back from their own healing. So I'm saying that to myself and everybody tonight, right? Like, I'm not just giving advice. I'm saying it out loud for myself and others as a manifestation. That's one thing that I've known, but that kind of stirred up in me tonight and kind of changed the course of what I wanted to talk about.
Man, that's awesome. And I'm so extremely proud of you for like being obedient. That's probably the word. Because I know obviously it's never easy.
No.
It's never easy, but I actually think it's easier when you're in service. I truly believe that was the tipping point. Because it was easier to do it for that family member than it was to even do for yourself.
Yes.
But then God turned around and made it for you too, so that you could get going on the process for yourself as well. So it might not work for you to do it and that could be why you're spinning your wheels. If anybody's listening to this, it could be why you're spinning your wheels in the healing journey, going like they say backsliding, right? Backsliding, thinking you're there, and then you backslide and you're not. And I got to go back to counseling, or I stopped my counseling because I thought I was good, and then you regress, and that could be why. Because sometimes it's hard to do it for yourself. But again, if we were created to be on this earth together and be in community, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. There's a reason no matter what. If you're driving a car and you have to slam on the brakes and somebody's in the passenger seat, that you reach your arm out to help brace the impact. It's natural. It's a natural reaction that we all have had. If you've ever driven and you've ever had to slam on the brakes, you're going to reach to the side, to the passenger, to make sure that they don't fall too much forward and hit themselves. It's a natural thing. So if that's the natural thing that we do, that we're created to do, then that would actually be the hack. That would actually be the hack, is to like be in service. Like Jay said, to serve your pain, to heal through your service. Because that actually might be easier than actually trying to focus on you. And I got to get this done, and I got to be better, and I want to be better. And you're trying, and you're fighting, and you're clawing, when all you have to do is open yourself up. Be a little vulnerable, of course.
Yes, that vulnerability.
Right?
Yes.
But open yourself up. Number one, you're not alone. The devil tries to shame you into thinking that you're the only person that's ever went through anything, that you're the only person that this has ever happened to. And so in that isolation, it just gets harder.
Yeah.
So that part is absolutely not easy. I appreciate you sharing, because that's awesome. I'm extremely excited for you. And I know that there's so much more to come on that.
Absolutely.
There's so much more to come on that. You know, I told y'all I was a coach, right? I like to push people. So I know there's more to come on that, because I know there's so many people that are going to be blessed, saved, and healed by what you're about to do with speed. So I'm excited for you.
That's my service.
I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you. And I can't wait to see all the great things that are going to come from that. It's going to be bigger than you could ever imagine. I know it. And I'm excited for you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the blessings and the mentorship, coaching, partnership, and all the things along the way.
Yes,
and
yes.
You're exactly right when you said you are not alone. I think when we think about service, even along the same vein of what we're talking about, you know, if God created us all to be in service, He also created us all imperfect. So if we're waiting on perfection to start sharing and giving and serving and all that vulnerability that we need to have, if we're waiting on perfection, again, that's another missed blessing, a missed opportunity, to be in service to someone else, right, and help them start their healing journey. So again, I just appreciate everything. And thank you for supporting me, and even, you know, kind of giving us the inspiration with this book as well, to be in service and to be in community the way we are.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to join the lot? I don't know how to help you exit, so.
Girl. I'm going to try to get out.
You're going to try to get off the IG live?
I'm coming back. Have a good night.
God bless. God bless. Love you. So I appreciate Candyce sharing, man. Her vulnerability is a sign of true healing and growth. That vulnerability is a sign of true healing and growth. And it has, I will venture to say, we'll be back on some type of IG Live before this year is out. And she'll be sharing that one thing as the key to her journey, her healing, and her being able to help other people heal through similar situations. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you as always. One of the co-founders of the 5-Minute Career Hack. Actually, let me say this differently. She truly is the inspiration, the person that got us started. She's the one that reached out and said, hey, we need to do X, Y, Z. Let's make this career consulting company happen. It was her brain that started this process, and I thank you for thinking of me. I thank you for thinking of me, thinking enough of me to reach out to me to say you even want to be in business with me, right? I appreciate you for that. And the wonderful amount of people that we've helped, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now if she hadn't thought about it, was obedient, and ultimately reached out and said, hey, I want you to be a part of this. Let's make this business happen so we can help more people in their careers and with their compensation to get it to where they need to be. So thank you. I appreciate you, Candyce, for being obedient. Anybody else want to join the live? Share anything that they've taken away. Give me some heart emojis if this has been helpful, if this has been in any way, shape, or form helpful in your life, or if you know someone that it's going to be helpful to. Otherwise, you can drop it in the comments. I'll hold it for a second. But I do have one thought that I want to end with. If we don't have anyone else that wants to share any takeaways or anything that they learned from these sessions, don't forget they'll be on YouTube. They're also on IG Live and Facebook Live, but they'll also be releasing the live replays. We'll be releasing on YouTube over the next few weeks. And note that we have another book coming, so you can check that out in our stories on IG, Facebook, and we'll be posting it on LinkedIn and Twitter as well. But we've got Alicia the Queen Wade, our other co-founder, will be presenting and having a live book discussion around the book, The Genius Zone. The Genius Zone by Gay Hendricks. The Genius Zone by Gay Hendricks. If you don't have the book, you've got plenty of time to order it on Amazon.com or on Audible. If you're an Audible reader like the three of us, or listener like the three of us, you have time to get your copy and start reading that book. I promise you, the way Alicia dissects things is like none other. Your life is going to be changed if you get this book and then you join the live discussion that'll start on September 13th. September 13th. It's a Tuesday. It'll start on September 13th. Your life will be changed if you tap in. There's probably never been a conversation with Alicia that my life wasn't changed in some way, shape, or form, right? In some way, shape, or form. She. Let me tell you how good this queen is. She recently did I don't know what we're gonna call it. We gotta come up with a name for this, but she has a special gift to analyze you as an individual and tell you exactly what your mate should be like. She has a way to basically just say, okay, you should have, this is the type of person that you're going to be with, and be 100% accurate, to the point where she gave me my assessment of the type of man that I would be with. I reflected on it, and then I left it, didn't think about it much more after that. And come 3-4 months later, it hit me. I had to get on. It's a gift. Absolutely. She is talented, right? And I was able to have a conversation with her about her assessment, and she was spot on. I mean, like, as if, and we've known each other for a while, but not our whole lives. She was spot on, though. Spot on. And I was like, you know, we need to package this and create an algorithm so you can have people put in a test that you can have them put their information in, so you can assess them, so they can know the type of person they will be compatible with. Amazing. So you don't want to miss September 13th. Alicia Wade, co-founder at the 5-Minute Career Hack, will be doing another live book discussion The book is titled The Genius Zone by Gay Hendricks. The Genius Zone by Gay Hendricks. Get the book on Amazon.com or Audible.com. Be sure to jot you a few notes down. Be ready to work. The queen don't play. I'm a coach. I push you, but she gonna make you put that work in, but it'll be worth it for you. It'll be worth it for you. So be sure to tap into that. And what I'll leave you with tonight is I really thought about, as I was wrapping up my notes and obviously reflecting on the book for the second time, is what I really thought about, I wanted to leave you with is my gift to you all tonight. I wanted to make sure I gave something to you all tonight above and beyond the conversation that we have. I wanted to make sure that I gave something to you tonight. Right? So I'm going to give you two things tonight. Number one, I recorded a podcast that just released on Tuesday. The title of the podcast is Career Options Part 2. And so I did Career Options Part 1. It was episode number 16. This is episode number 43. Those of you that know me or may not know me, I am an extremely private person by nature. I have a very tight circle of people that I connect with, that I love and I appreciate. And I can even be private with them, right? And not necessarily share everything with them sometimes. However, I realized God didn't have me go through things in my life and certain things in my life just for me. I mentioned that earlier. It's not just for me. In my growth, in my development, it's not just for me. He wanted me to share and help someone else, possibly make their lives easier, or, as they're going through, make that process easier that they're going through, that I've went through, and hey, this is how you can navigate that faster. Or even completely avoid it. That's part of 99% of what I go through, is so that I can share it with someone else. And so the information that I shared in this last podcast, episode number 43, on the 5-Minute Career Hack podcast, is all about information and perspective. I provide a few basic things that are putting external pressures on your decision making. So you're getting external pressures around your current decision making, whether that's around your career and your compensation. There are external pressures that cause you to make decisions about major things in your life financially or with your career. So I put two to three main mistakes. I'm calling them mistakes, right? But I know God meant them for a purpose. I put 2 mistakes in this podcast that you should go listen to. Because when you get the perspective, it may save you millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. I did the calculation. And for me, in 2027, these 2 things that to seem almost inconsequential would have been worth $1 million. Just these 2 things. So I want you to go listen to that podcast. That's my first gift to you tonight. Right? That's my first gift. And you can go watch it on YouTube. The link is in our bio, no matter what platform you're on. If you're on LinkedIn audio, it's in my bio. You can go straight to YouTube. If you're on Twitter Spaces, it's in my bio, as well as 5-Minute Career Hack. Facebook Live, same thing. You can go straight to YouTube to watch IG Live. You can go straight to our link in bio and watch that episode right now. While you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. We've got a special series coming very soon. Don't have the release date, but it's going to be in the next few weeks. We've got a special series coming soon. I'm going to provide more information. I don't want to let everything out of the bag right now, but be sure to subscribe and turn your notifications on YouTube, because that series is coming and you're not going to want to miss any of those episodes. So be sure to subscribe while you're over there watching this episode. That's my first gift to you guys tonight. That's my first gift, right? Get that information because it lines up, and I had to share it, right? And I've shared it in some private situations. I've shared it on my trade team, but ultimately I knew that more people needed to hear. I needed to let the world know, because it's not complicated. That's the thing about a lot of things. It's not overly complicated, but if you don't have the information and the perspective, you can miss it, and it could cost you financially, mentally, emotionally. Promotions on your job, it can cost you. those external pressures. So be sure to check out that episode. Okay. The second thing I want to give to you as we wrap up this incredible discussion around Think Like a Monk, our live book discussion. The second thing I want to give to you, we are relaunching in some cases, we're relaunching our Career Hacks Masters course. It will be available, I believe we're looking at a launch date around November 10th. I'm sorry, September 10th, give or take. So I don't have that confirmed. So again, I thought about how I could give right before this, so all of this isn't confirmed. Man, my co-founders don't even know I'm about to do this. But I know that it's important to give, and so I know that they'll forgive me later. But if you want access to the course, right, send us a DM on the social media platform, and we are going to be doing a special promotion for the people that are here that send us a DM and or an email today. So it's 8 o'clock Central Time. So between now and midnight Central Time, if you want to get access to our Career Hacks Masters course, again, it will launch in the next couple weeks. It's being relaunched. If you want access to it, we're going to give it to you. I don't even know what that's going to be, but we're going to give you an incredible discount, may even give it to you for free. Just send us a DM and let us know that you want access to it, and or send us your email between now and midnight. That's what I want to do for you all. And I hope, again, my co-founders are okay with it. So anybody listening, send us a DM, and we're going to send you, whether that's a discount code and or free access, right? I might be able to convince it, free access for everybody listening, right? For everybody listening, free access and or a discount. Not sure what I'm going to be able to negotiate with them, but by the time 12 o'clock gets here, you'll get a DM or an email back with the course, understanding what type of discount or if it's going to be free for you, and we'll enroll you so that you know here it's coming out this date. You'll get all that information. Again, it's all not baked yet, so I'm doing this prematurely. So forgive me, Alicia, Candyce, forgive me, everybody working on it. But I wanted to give. I gave the podcast, that's 8 minutes of your time to watch the podcast, including the intro and the outro. And then it's either going to be a free access to the course and or a major discount for everybody that's listening right now, between now and midnight. That course is A to Z Career Hacks Masters course of your entire employment cycle, from A to Z. So from interviewing, the recruiting process, LinkedIn, to DMing recruiters, to going through each step of the interview process, to negotiating your salary, maxing out your benefits, your 401k, everything you need to know how to do, writing your resume, improving your LinkedIn profile, your exit strategy. I don't know any coaches talking about how to exit a company on your terms. You're going to get all of that plus emotional intelligence in this course. Right? So be sure to send us a DM between now and midnight, and or send us an email between now and midnight and say, all you got to do is say, hey, I want access. Right? Send us a DM and say, hey, I want access. Send us a DM and say, type that in the chat. I want access. I want access. And we'll get back to you in the next 24 to 48 hours and let you know what that discount is going to be, because I literally decided to do this right before I got on IG. So I haven't even gotten this approved with my business partners, and that's the right thing to do. And we'll come up with what that will be, and you'll get that from us, from myself, and from the 5-Minute Career Hack team. I appreciate you all for joining me. I appreciate you allowing me to feed off of the energy of you being here. I appreciate you all allowing me to feed off of the energy of you being here tonight and all the other nights. Energy is transferable. And while you may be in Texas, you may be in the Carolinas, you may be in Kentucky, you may be in Canada, I don't know where you are, but that energy, I'm giving it back to you right now. I'm pushing that same energy and love back to you right now. And I want nothing but the best for you in every area of your life and your cup to overflow so that you can ultimately be of service to others. As I end every podcast, I love you and you have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget to DM us or send us an email and say, hey, I want access. You all be blessed. 9/13 September 13th, our next live book discussion on the Genius Zone. The Genius Zone. You'll see more information to come. Turn on your notifications on YouTube. Check out that other gift that I gave tonight, episode 43. I love y'all. Have a wonderful night and be blessed.